Let the chaos reign.
T.R.S. presents Understanding Interracial Relationships, broadcast December the 9th, 2019. Enjoy.
The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at TalkRealSolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of TalkRealSolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not TalkRealSolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
In a world where there's crime, corruption, violence, rape, murder, theft, and all forms of atrocity that plague the world in which we live in today, what you're witnessing, we're living in a state of chaos, and it will take a greater, much extremer chaos to restore the order in which the world we live in today. Good evening, black people. This is Chaos here. Tonight. A very unique broadcast. It's going to probably be a reading, then a call-in, then an answer question, and thoughts and opinions for tonight's show. But before I give you the title for tonight's show, I'd like everybody to go to TalkRealSolutions.com. On TalkRealSolutions.com, you see the plan for a 3-point plan for black empowerment, black achievement. And under the 3-point plan, you'll see a list of black established-owned banks located here in the United States of America. I believe we still have roughly almost 30 banks still existing here in America. And if you have or create an account from another bank, it wouldn't hurt create another account and put some of your money into a black established-owned bank. One of the few things, and maybe in the future I'll have another brother on here that wrote a book on this. We don't really take serious of not only group economics, but putting our money into these black-owned establishments that's run and controlled by black people. And we need to start doing that because it's going to come to a time where, these other race people will not be hiring you. And they're very slowly close the door on a lot of people that's either employed or unemployed in this country. And if they had to make a decision to feed their babies besides yours, you know what they're going to pick. So everybody, they should take the seriousness to start not only putting the money into black established banks, but also contribute and keep afloat any of these black established businesses that cater to community as best as possible. So, also in the website, you'll see the latest articles, news, events that's going on here too as well, from politics, possibly entertainment, and all the above. So, you'll find all the information there on talkrealsolutions.com. Also on talkrealsolutions.com, there is a donation tab where you could donate whatever the show is, worth. If you donate little as $5 or greater, will be appreciated. It keeps the show afloat, keep things going, circulating. The other thing you could also do, hold on a second. Also, I would like people to go to Talk World Solutions on YouTube as well. You'll find not only this stream, but all other streams done on talkrealsolutions.com. This show airs roughly on the average 6 to 7 days a week. You'll see shows from ABC to possibly Howard. And also the show that people should always keep abreast and keep an eye on is T.R.S. News. That's broadcast every Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Other departments or regions varies, but the news is very integral part of Talk World Solutions. So if you're normally tired of watching the regular mainstream news, you can always get a different perspective from Talk World Solutions T.R.S. News every Thursday at 9 o'clock p.m. And that's also on the YouTube as well. So you miss any of those episodes, you can go back to YouTube to catch the broadcast. That was weird. Anyway, so I think that's all the announcements. So tonight's show, this is titled Chaos Reign presents Understanding Interracial Relationships. Now, as everybody knows, I'm not too fond of advocate interracial relationships with black and non-black people per se, and any situation you deal with, I'm not really pushing it, or I don't advocate that is the best way to go. In regards to the climate we live today here in the West, we call America, or abroad, there's always a deeper agenda. For now, if they push anything to what they call a dominant society, to the society that remains into and operates under another racial, ethnic group of people, you always have to question and say, what is really the end game? What is the purpose? What outcome? What image do you want to see once people start to interbreed and create different races of people? These are the questions we should always ask when anything is being promoted for whatever reason to the public and try and push it as normalcy. So, like I said before, you have to look at a bigger picture, look at the end game of everything and its purpose. So now, as I look and give you the psychological today, and let me see when it was published. This is a brief little look of, understanding interracial relationships. And before I go into it, the call number for tonight's show is 712-770-4160. The access code is 915-411#. I repeat, 712-770-4160. Access code 915-411#. So let's begin. And let me just check. Oh, and I forgot one other thing. Okay. Let's send one more link because I forgot to send this. So let's look into this now. Understanding interracial relationships. Are interracial relationships mercenary exchange or unions of equality? And this was written by Elizabeth Allure McClintock, or McClintock, PhD. It's a man and a woman's world. Intimate interracial relationships have long been considered indicative of the social distance between groups and barometers for gauging race relationships. Social distance describes the feeling of similarity and closeness, or dissimilarities and rejection that members of a group have towards members of some other groups. Borges, 1947. Simmel, 1909. Increased rates of interracial and interethnic marriage from about 7% in 1980 to 15% in 2010. Pew Research of 2012 are therefore indicated of improved race relationships. Still, rates of interracial marriage remains much lower than would exist if race were irrelevant to partner choice. Now, interethnic marriage. And let's Google that. See, there is a certain definition of that. Because we all know what interracialism is between what we call a black or African person and a non-black person, which particularly could be what they call non-black Hispanic, white, Arab, and Asian. So as we look at the dictionary, and let's see what pulls up. Okay. All right, it says here, ethnics. Pertaining to a characteristic of a people, especially a group, ethnic group, sharing a common and distinct culture, religion, language, or the likes. And that is what we call the regular dictionary. Let's see if we can go to Merriam-Webster dictionary. Let's look at the Merriam-Webster dictionary and see if it pops up the same way. Give it a different. And it says here, interethnic was definition of interethnics, existence or occurring between two or more ethnic groups, interethnic relationships, interethnic or interethnic difference. For the first known use of interethnics was written and known in 1887, and the meaning different above. So it seems to me this word has been around for a period of 132 years. Long time. And people don't know, say, if it's different culture, that means someone that is, let's say, an African person depending which part of Africa this man or woman from, their culture is derived by their tribe. Like, food, ethnics, and ritual practice. That's ethnic culture. Same people will say if somebody is European, they have a certain culture where they not only deal with whiteness, but they deal with everything from their foods, their customs, and their ways. Same thing with somebody that is Latino. Same thing applies. They take things from that's primarily Spanish, that's from Spain, and derived from other mix of the culture. Some dealing with some African mix into it, depending which Hispanic you deal with. Okay. Let's move on. Okay, given the relative scarcity of interracial relationships, sociologists have long sought to explain why they happen. That is, how and why do some couples overcome the substantial barriers to such unions. One strand of research argues that interracial marriage represents a form of race status exchange in which the white partner leverage his or her higher racial status to attract a minority partner with higher education or income. As compared to the white partner, education and income, Felicio Roberto and Comine, 2009, Fu, 2001, Goldlickson, 2006, Goldlickson and Fu, 2010, Hu and Miles, 2013, Kamenji, 1993, Kamenji, 2010, and Kwan, 1997. This is generally conceived of a gender exchange in which white women achieve upward mobility by marrying social-economically advanced minority men. In a recent variation, minority women are thought to exchange beauty and sexual access for white men's income, Sesser and Joyner, 2011. And these exchange occurs, the resulting unions might undermine racial boundaries by uniting an interracial couple and generating mixed-race children, but they would also reinforce racial inequality by affirming that minorities' status is undesirable. Presumably, the white partner would not accept a minority suitor unless tempted by a promise of upward social economic mobility or easy sex. Let me read that again. Okay, let me see where I said. If this exchange occurs, the resulting unions might undermine race boundaries by uniting an interracial couple and generating mixed-race children, but they will also reinforce racial inequality by affirming that minority status is undesirable. Presumably, the white partner would not accept a minority suit unless tempted by a promise of upward social economic mobility or easy sex. Now, what does T.R.S have to say in this part? I'll tell you. It says this: if you're a so-called black male and you got money, which will include some status, the so-called non-black woman, which particularly in America, which we call the European woman, Becky, Laura, whatever you want to call her, she will undoubtedly will bust it wide open for you, my, you get me? And not only that, if you play cards right, she might just you off with ease. Because one way or the other, it's either you have the money or just, another form where she just want to get some sex just to knock it off. One way or the other, you're going to be used, my dude. You're going to be used. And so finally, possibly, well, not possibly, you'll be abused too through her social status and your lower status. So when people look at these athletes and they keep expounding why these dudes get non-black women, it's simple. Because these women are lined up, waiting and ready to put wherever status they are to a new level. That's how the game works. That's how it works. So if you were a brother and you want to get a higher status, the only way you're going to assure that, and I'm saying the only way you're going to secure that, if you're going to mess around with this interracialism, you're going to find, if you're in America, you better find that non-black woman, particularly that's European, Caucasoid, and she has to be a certain look and appealing, and you got to have a certain status, especially if you making more than over 6 figures on average. And sometimes you might get the so-called non-black woman, this Caucasoid, without 6 figures. But the woman you get, and it's not going to be of any quality, she's either going to be like outcast of her own community. And, you know, when she's outcast, there's already 2 things. On average, she's going to be very heavy, obese, fat. And if you get one that's, let's say, not too fat, she might be potentially on the drugs, like the meth, which, you know, is out here because a lot of Caucasian women and men are being very affected by the meth of their communities. And think of this. She can't, no doubt, be messing with you, and she still has to operate in society. And before I conclude this tonight's session, I'm going to go into the numbers about this abortion thing that I just came across. Y'all going to like to stay tuned. But let's continue the reading. In addition, some exchange would reaffirm gender inequality in marriage by assuring women economic dependence on their higher-earning husbands. Engage in race status exchange means that both partners would perceive whiteness as better and more desirable, which implies at least some degree of internalizing racism. Yet it seems intuitive that it is the least racist individual who would be most likely to enter interracial unions. Indeed, politically conservative individuals, including minorities, express the strongest preference for white partners. East Wing, L. 2009, and generally interracial daters are less traditionally and more politically and culturally progressive. Fitzpatrick, Sharp, and Refferman, 2009. Herman and Campbell, 2012, and Yancey, 2002. In fact, much of the evidence seemingly in support of race status exchange theories may actually result from misspecific statistical models. This is Rossfield, 2005. And just as researchers' assumptions that women trade beauty for men's socioeconomic status may have led to enormous findings that seem to support the trophy white stereotype. McClinton, 2014. Research tendencies to problematize interracial relationships may have generated a misleading focus on race status exchange. In fact, interracial couples, like other couples, tend towards similarities in socioeconomic status. They have similar levels of education. Rosenfeld, 2005. While I do not deny that social exchange may be a factor of romance relationships, I think it is time that researchers consider the assumption underlying their theoretical explanation. Do interracial couples really believe that the white partner married down in racial status? Or might they believe that in racial equality? Now, we all hear about this thing they call hypergamy in this. Okay. Besides people getting the bag, okay. But when we look at other racial groups of women, that depends on what you are, appealing-wise. And we all know most dudes that got some really dough, serious money, on the average, they don't really marry women that look too fat. And if they do take on a non-black partner, let's say for the sake of conversation that this is a black male, that he has a certain status because he has money, he might get a so-called Caucasoid that might be decent looking, or, she has to be, suit up with a lot of Botox, fake implants, and all. You know how people do. The non-black women have to look themselves good, so they have to take care of them. So they gotta get that surgery, go on that knife, get that lip injection, get that what do you call it, implants, the boobs, the buttocks, wherever they have to do, they gotta do what they gotta do to look appealing to attract the opposite sex, because they know the importance of beauty. Beauty does matter to them, and they have to be able to appeal to that man that has that resource, so he could sit there and give them potentially a ring, so they could secure what we call the bag. Other than that, most of them that doesn't look the part, unfortunately, deal with a so-called non-white male. They are dating down, unfortunately. Unfortunately, they are. If they're messing with somebody that's not of a higher status, that will perpetuate them where the status they are to a much higher status. Now, I know I'm going to have a lot of heat for this, saying this, because most men don't understand how the world works. They feel so that, if they come with the good looks and also that's good enough, it might work for the females who deal with that not attractive or, don't keep themselves apart. You might bag that if it's a non-black female. But overall, saying, you're going to have to get your stuff in order, brothers. Well, let's continue. Are minority women trading beauty and sexual access for white men, race, and income? Or might the white men also be good looking and might not want, or might not, and might not women want sex too? That they put a typo here. Reference. And that's the end of this article. And to be honest with you, when a sister, let's say, marries up, let's say she marries up, right? On the average, and we got to be honest here as people, the black woman is still going to marry the black man, and the black man is going to still marry the black woman at alarming over 70%. And the funny thing about all this, that when we see the numbers, if we want to entertain these little stupid numbers about who's doing, who's double now, who's married, who's swirling, I mean, it's giving you a projection what is there, but really when we look at the conclusion of this is that, with the sisters, if they decide to marry non-black men, which some of them have exercised the option, might not be in great numbers, but they do anyway, that, they do put themselves in somewhat a better position. And I said somewhat, depending which non-black person they deal with. Unfortunately, with a lot of these sisters that marry the non-black men, they let's say this. You think they'll be home and chilling and stuff with the kids. Well, we find out that some of them are still working, and they married to this non-black man to have that, leave the beaver type of lifestyle, where they stay home, cook and clean, raise the kids. It's not that when it comes to a lot of these interracial couples with the sisters. A lot of people think that's what's happening, but it's not really. A lot of these women still work, do the same thing just like the man. You think the man was going to be the one doing all the things, take care of all the things, and she don't do nothing at all but sit home. No, they got to work, And I don't blame them because, in America, people have to resort to two incomes. And with two incomes, I could see, it's necessary in this economy because the economy is kind of fluctuating and it can tank as well. But nonetheless, when the artist time I said they're dating up to these non-black men, my question is, why are you still working? Usually if you're going up, you should not be working. You should be living that actual wife role you expect it. But from what I'm discovering, that's not the case. I'm not saying that most women don't want to work, but either it's a choice or not. But usually, if you're gonna be going for this polygamy stuff, I should be seeing less y'all working and then living the life. You know what I'm saying, stress free, all that. But like I said, when people take on these unions, I think that for whatever reason, because they can't find the man of their dreams, or they have a certain disdain, hate for the opposite sex that's black. I mean, it's crazy. My thing with people that are in these unions, or wherever you want to label it, they like to still throw shade to the black population that still wants to procreate and have not only children with other black people, but still want to have some families with the same race. But it goes back again that there's a mental illness amongst our community, a serious mental illness. And the funny thing with all this, hold on a second. 1 second, guys.
Gary. Gary, you dropped off. Gary should be back, all right? So hold on, y'all.
All right, guys.
You back? You back?
Yes, I'm back. 1 second.
All right, cool. All right.
I don't mind y'all guys doing that, but I got this tonight, guys. Relax. I got the sixth board. We're gonna continue. Let me see where I'm at. Let me do this. I don't want no thing on the board. Okay. Where was I? Oh yes. Like I said before, that when it comes to us in these relationships, that we get in it for the purpose now I remember, like this, when most of us that we enter, we hope that we get somewhere better, and not only escaping amongst ourselves, but we feel that it is much more, will be a better lasting relationship, and we'll get somewhere status-wise with these non-black people. But if we look at back in history of, these relationships, either the black man was in it and was marrying non-black women, to black women marrying non-black men, throughout history, it never did really serve both of us. If we look at even the fall of many kingdoms, even now with some of us in our society, that proves problematic, is these the product we produce with these interracial unions. Our offspring become very confused. Hell, 90% of them don't even got an identity. They feel they could be both sides of the chessboard, but say that you live in a culture, a country, where it's predominantly more than half non-black running this country. And to sit there, operate in because you come from two different racial parents, you still fall in the scrutiny of the so-called one-drop rule that was created by these people, non-black people, Caucasian people, Europeans, especially European men, ones that create the one-drop rule. And because they implement and create this, they create a divide to separate between certain ethnic groups and certain racial mixed groups. And the reason why they did that is to make sure to draw a line to who's who. Because any person could come here and act as though they could be white or we call black. Hell, someone could possibly play both sides of the fence. And we all know playing both sides of the fence can be dangerous. So what they do to create that divide and protect them, they had to create the one-drop rule. So we don't understand what's the purpose of one-drop rule. It's to distinguish and separate the so-called classification of certain race for their benefit, for their preservation, their protection. And for only those mixed breeds to become what we call more of a dominant society, they have to continue to engage the watering down of their genetic makeup. What I mean by that, that means you're going to have to continue to procreate with another person that is, quote-unquote, non-black. You know, and you have to do this for a period of 2 more generations. Once the 3rd generation comes out of this union, it will be now classified and be looked at as what we call Caucasian or non-black. Because all of the so-called genetics of black, which is not really strong. A lot of people understand this black gene is not as strong as you think it is. This black gene has been watered down for centuries. So, you know, if you come and you already had 14 or 20% in you genetic-wise, if you check your ancestry, it's easy for you to take whatever percent is and double that just by having an interracial union, creating this interracial or this what they call mulatto child. It's easy now. And you could tell now most people that produce from people that are non-black, usually mostly in our community, we black people procreate with people that are what we call Hispanic, which, you know, most Hispanics, most black people procreate are actually white. You know, there's no secret. You know, you might find one that might have some black or that's black. You could tell because some might be a little tanner. Some might even got nappy hair. They could be fall under that line. But on the average, most people, especially the men, they try to procreate something that doesn't look like black as possible. It's more of a to see and, you know, to look at and be pleasant to see something that's less looking like them. And I think most people have this mindset because they want to adapt and assimilate completely into society without the scrutinies and the what we call abuse from the dominant society towards them because they are actually black, a.k.a. ADOS, African, whatever you want to call it. It's a form of protection because if you're not in rulership or you're not in a dominant position, power position, then obviously you had to be under the boot heel of another ethnic group, race of people. And that's a sad reality, but that's just the honest truth. So let me look back and see if he re-put back the thing. Okay, I'm looking now. All right. I'm not sure if he re-uploaded. Oh, wow. Okay, he's probably still reconstructing, so I'm going to continue. Another thing people don't really understand is, and I'm really going to deal with the dudes now for this part, is that, you know, I see a lot of dudes talk about, you know, these other racial value and see them as more of the favorite and stuff. But the funny thing with other non-black women, particularly white, Hispanic, Asian, Arab, Caucasian, they don't really emphasize or praise their approval or likings of dealing with what we call non-black men. At the same emphasis, you don't see them make a lot of videos. Hell, you don't see them even come up on a lot of these so-called panels where there's predominantly a lot of what we call non-white males, black men particularly. Hell, you don't even see them even emphasize that they want to sit there and marry non-black men in numbers. And you're not going to see that. It's not because they have racial pride. It's because they don't view this so-called non-white man, a.k.a. black man, as of some serious value or something that I must go have and get to marry and feel secure. They don't view black men like that in mass, unfortunately. But we sure as hell praise these non-black women and had high numbers, like that we did a cream of the crop, and they look and want to get married and have, these babies off these so-called non-white men, aka black men. That's far sad, far from the truth, brothers. Unfortunate. There's only two things like any woman wants out of you, besides some of the sisters, but just in general, either you got the resource and the sex. And they prefer both if we want to keep it 100. They only come see you if you got that good, thing to sling down and throw down the bedroom to make them bawl and scream. That's what they look for. You always see the term, you hear the saying, say, I want somebody tall, dark, and handsome. That's a fetish. They want to just to screw. Just to have a good night, just get in the bed, let her scream to her lungs and full sexual ecstasy. And after that, moving on to the next dude, and, she'll get that same thrill, same way. So don't confuse the two, And not just the Caucasian women, but also the Asian, the Latin, all these other women. We don't got one or two or both. That's the only thing they might see any worth. But other than that, there's nothing really they have really positive to say about what they like about a black man or a non-black man. Besides, he has swag, looks good, and he can throw down the bed real nice. Other than that, in regards to good fathers, this, that, good to marry, providers, yeah. They don't really expound that. They don't express that at all. And they should, because really truly, why would they waste the time? Because their own men and their own culture already give them what is needed. They provide that enough. They don't need something from another race of man that is on a boot heel or under another man's foot for that. They go straight to the man for that. The only time they will entertain a non-black man is when they need something, like something sexual, or if you have real resource, they'll deal with that. But other than that, they don't want nothing to do with you, And it's actually the saddest truth. As much time I don't want to say it, and some brothers don't want to hear this, well, that is the obvious truth. And, I might be not the first to do that, to expound us on y'all. Y'all heard this on countless other social media outlets, some things on YouTube. And if you want, you might find it in certain articles as well. But there's nothing really positive in regards to what they see and value this so-called non-white man, aka black man, today, even back then and now. And a lot of brothers don't really see the real end goal or the purpose of this purpose of this interracial union. And this applies same thing with the women too. As the one thing they see you sisters as a quick, screw. And if you get babies, that also might be a A+, because, with the negative birth rate, they don't mind it jump a little bit having some mixed babies. And depending on what type of mixed baby that comes out of it, if it's a boy, even greater. That means you can sit there, interact with this so-called non-black woman, and procreate to make another mix or a quadroon. And eventually that quadroon is going to turn into somewhat of a full caucasoid that's going to have like less than 40% of the African genome. So at the end of the day, they win, and to the opposite side, you lose. You lose every time. But like in warfare, you have to win by any cost. Even if you have to sit there, condition people to sit there and give their genetics to them by engage in interracial sexual unions with them. If it need to be, it'll come down to, and we're seeing it now in full circle. Now going on the 21st century. And we're now approaching the first generation of the 21st century. And moving forward, you don't see nothing better. You're only going to see further programming. And it's not going to get to your adult self. They're going to really turn to the Generation Zs and Millennial Zs. Yes, I said it. A new term. Millennial Zs. They're really targeting. The ones that's born now. They're the ones that's going to probably push that 2050 reality of what type of complex you're going to see in America. Is it going to be a pale or a browning of America? And the only way you're going to achieve what we call this mixed, homogeneous state of people, you have to push people to have intercourse with each other. That means you got to push the little youngsters to be young teens and adults to have and procreate with non-white people to create this mixing. It's more than just agenda. It's what is already implemented and put into effect now. That's why you see, if you watch a lot of commercials and televisions, you don't see actual black unions because it's not feasible. It's not allowed. Because as long as you're still interacting with each other, you still create what we call black life. And that's no good. You can't have black life if you're trying to replace people and create a new set of people. So that way you could continue the same nonsense and violence and madness that the world's already infected by. So now, in regards to the abortions, let's think about the black woman aborting more babies than anybody else in this country. And noticing that we are, last time I checked, over 13% of the population. And I hear they said that it dropped 12% to 14%. And we're never going to know what's the exact numbers of actual descents of slaves in this country. Because another thing that I'm pointing out is this, that they're not going to tell you how much of you is in this country. They give you a projection what you are, but they're not going to tell you if there's more them or very little them. And since they already admit that they're having a declined birth rate and it's in the negative, it's very much surprising that, that they undoubtedly are still keeping numbers to be what we call the majority in this country. But we're not going to know it's because, by default, the non-black people, black men, black women, wherever, in these fields, are not doing separate research and doing these statistics themselves. They're not sitting there going door to door. They're not doing the regular tallies of who's here in different states and creating their own form of census. They're depending on somebody else's census, which is going to, now it's the time that the census is going to start show next year to know what's the numbers here now. You're not doing that, so obviously what you're reading is what they want to tell you and give you. And I give you the actual numbers because, like I said, lazy people and people that don't do the work are not going to get the real information. You're only going to get what they deem worthy of what you want to know. And that's the sad truth. So let's look at this myth about, what is the percentage of black abortions. And this is another reading. Before I go, let me check the board. All right, no one's raised their hand yet, so let me go back. Racial variation in the number of spontaneous abortions before a first successful pregnancy and effects of subsequent pregnancy. This is very lengthy, so I'll try to go through it as best as possible. Bear with me. The abstract, objective, assets of the relationships between race and spontaneous abortion, where the relationships vary by risk factors and effect of spontaneous abortions of subsequent pregnancies. Methods. A retrospective study was undertaken using data collected by the London, UK between 1988 and 2000, a period of 2 years. Logistics, regression, evaluate historical of spontaneous abortions and associations with small for gestational age and preterm births or preterm births in Black Africans, Black Caribbeans, and South Asians women relative to white European women, interactions with risk factors were assessed. The result, over 196 of 0440 women were included. Compared with white Europeans, and the odds of a previous spontaneous abortion were increased in Black Africans. Adjusted odds ratio, AOR, 1.20, 95% confidence intervals, 1.12 through 1.29, and Black Caribbean women, 1.31, 95%, and CI, 1.21 through 1.41. The strength of the association with Black African race increased with age. P equals 0.002, and association with South Asians race increased with age, and body mass index, which is 0.1. Spontaneous abortions was associated with preterm births in all races by a strongest in Black African women, which is 1.47, 95%, CI 1.29 through 1.67. And the conclusion, the greater incidence of spontaneous abortions in Black Africans and Black Caribbean women should prompt further study of risk factors in relations to race. The interaction with age in Black Africans and South Asians women could be important for counseling in relations to timing a pregnancy. Keyword, preterm birth, race, racial group, small, for gestation, age, spontaneous abortions. And this dealing with the spontaneous abortion. Let me scan through to see if I should read this. Okay. Yeah, I probably will not look at this. This is pretty lengthy. I'm going to go down. And this is like a sample group between certain ethnic groups. Well, it's really Black still. All right, what's this? Now, this is the look at the spontaneous abortions. Praise the outcome by material racial groups. White Europeans from 158.587. Black Africans, 6,659. Black Caribbeans, 5,808. South Asians, roughly 24.986 as a total. And it goes down. The spontaneous burps, and they go by marriage, that the abortion outcomes. Abortions from this, dealing with the white Europeans, is roughly 86.2%. Black Africans, 85.0%. Black Caribbeans, 84.3%. South Asians, 88.2%. And the total of both of these spontaneous abortions from zero abortions was roughly 169.332. So this deals with 0 abortions of spontaneous abortions. Now, for 1 abortion, white Europeans, 17.744, which is 11.2. Black Africans, 768, 11.5. Black Caribbeans, 715, 12.3. South Asians, 2,431, 9.7. And the total is 21.658, which is 11.0. That's, I believe, having 1 abortion. A spontaneous abortion, actually. Having spontaneous abortions, 2 spontaneous abortions. With white Europeans, 2,968, 1.9. Black Africans, 155, 2.3. Black Caribbeans, 139, 2.4. South Asians, 362, 1.4. And total 3,624, 1.8. Now, if it's greater than, less than, or greater than equal to 3, 1,148, 0.7. And that's from European white women. Black Africans, 77, 1.2. Black Caribbeans, 57, 1.0. South Asians, 144, 0.6. Total 1,426.7. Maternal age for obesity, which I'm not going to go into. Well, actually, I'm not going into that because it's roughly obesity age here, from what it's showing, or maternal age of first obesity. Oh, no, actually, let me read that. Maternal age of the first delivery. The average age, from what they said, from European whites, is 27, 2 through 31. That's the average. Black Africans, 26, 23 through 29. Black Caribbeans, 25, 21 through 29. South Asians, age average, 25, 22 through 29. The average is 27 years old, 23 through 30. So that's the material age of first delivery. Those are the ages. And this one's dealing with BMI, dealing with body index. Material status, married, having births, or spontaneous abortions. Roughly, white women, 97.69, which is 65.4%. Black Africans, 3,412, 55.5 percentage. Black Caribbeans, 1,559, 28.9. South Asians, 23.6, 94.6%. And now this is dealing with now what I'm reading you is the spontaneous abortions that happens, I guess, frequently or occasionally. Unmarried with partner, unmarried. White women, 27.188, 18.2%. Black Africans, or Black Americans, 1,407, 22.9. Black Caribbeans, 1,532, 28.4%. South Asians, 869, 3.6%. Roughly a total 30.996, 16.7%. Unmarried without partner. Now, this is spontaneous abortion when they're unmarried and they have a partner. Look like they were going to potentially be a single mother. 24.536, 16.4%. Black Africans, 1,329, 21.6%. Black Caribbeans, 2,303, 42.7%. South Asians, 431, 1.8%. Total, 28.599, 15.4%. History of hypertension while spontaneous birth. This says no. These people that have no high blood pressure, hypertension. The spontaneous abortions for that is white women, 154.906. Percentage, 98.3%. Black Africans, 6,503, 98.5%. Black Caribbeans, 5,629, 97.6%. South Asians, 24.739, 99.4%. And the total is 98.4%. These people that have spontaneous abortions with no history of hypertension. Now, this is spontaneous abortion with people with hypertension. White women, 2,733, 1.7%. Black Africans, 101, 1.5. Black Caribbeans, 136, 2.4. South Asians, 143.6. Total, 3,100, 1.6. History of epilepsy. These people have no epilepsy. 156.912, 99.4%. That's white women. Black women, 6,592, 99.7%. Black Caribbeans, 5,752, 99.6%. South Asians, 24,795, 99.6%. Total, 194.51, 99.4%. These people who have a history of epilepsy with spontaneous abortions. White women, 971.6. Black Africans, 17.3. Black Caribbeans, 23.4%. South Asians, 95.4. In total, 1,106.6. History of renal disease. And normally y'all guys could look that up, definitely. They have spontaneous abortions with no history of renal disease. Now, this one that doesn't have it. 157,141. 99.6. 6,600. This is for, and going back, 157.141, which is 99.6%. That is white women. Black women, African women, 6,600, 99.7%. Black Caribbean women, 5,744, 99.7%. South Asian, 24,858, 99.8%. And we're not going to look at the total because that's in the 90s. These are a history of renal disease who have it, who does have this disease, and has a spontaneous abortion. 674 for white women, 0.4%. 17 for black women, African women, 0.3%. African Caribbeans, 19.3%. South Asians, 55.2%. History of induced abortions. These are people that, or these women that have a history of induced abortions that never had it. So this is no. White women, 134.375. Percentage, 84.7%. Black women of America, African women, 9,789, 71.9%. Black Caribbean women, 4,393, 75.6%. South Asian, 23.202, 92.9%. Now, the history of induced abortions, these are people that have the history of induced abortions. So this is what the people that do have it with the spontaneous abortion. White women, 24.212, 15.3%. Black American women, African women, 1,870, 28.1%. Black Caribbean women, 1,415, 24.4%. South Asians, 1,784, 7.1. And we go down. All right. The history of cardiac disease in spontaneous abortion. This is a history of women that do not have cardio disease. 156,330, 99.2%. This is on white women. Black women, African women, 6,570, 99.5%. Black Caribbean women, 705. Actually, 5,705, 99.1%. And South Asians, 24,781, 99.5%. This is a history of women that have cardio disease, that have spontaneous abortions. White women, 1,279.8. Black women, African women, 35.5%. Caribbean women, 52.9%. And South Asians, 119.5%. Another one is dealing with diabetes. And this is women that do not have diabetes that have spontaneous abortions. White women, 156.33, 99.0%. Black women, African women, 6,493, 98.2%. Black Caribbean, 5,664, 98.3%. And South Asians, 24,365, 97.8%. And let's go down further. And let's go down looking further. Yeah, that's a lot. All right, let me continue. I'm going to finish wrap this one up, and then I'm probably going to check the lines one more time. All right. All right, let me check the lines now. Okay, no one's raising their hands, so let me keep going. Okay. Gestational diabetes. And this is women that have spontaneous abortion with gestational diabetes. White women, 1,032.7. Black women, African women, 1.7. Black Caribbeans, 77, 1.3%. South Asians, 504, 2.1%. Established diabetes. These are women that have the diabetes. White women, 516.3. Black women, African women, 11.2. Black Caribbean, 21.3. South Asians, 52.2. Smoking status, non-smoker. This is women that have spontaneous abortions that does not smoke. White women, 121.900, 78.1%. Black women, African women, 6,158, 94.3%. Black Caribbean, 4,636, 81.1%. South Asians, 24.12%. 24.12 percentage, 97.9%. Current smokers, White women, 34.135, 21.9%. Black women, or African women, 370, 5.7%. Black Caribbean women, 1,078, 18.9%. South Asians, 519, 2.1%. And let's deal with Carson's deprivation score. It's one deprived, which I'm not going to go into. That's a different number itself. And let's see here, number 5, or most delivered. And let's deal with deliveries from 2 down to 5. And they go by years, which I'm not going to go into. Because obviously, if I read one right now, and it's like a bunch, years of delivery from 1988 to 1990. And this is the most deprived. And this is Table 1, the material characteristic reporting previous spontaneous abortions and pregnancy outcomes by maternal racial groups. Years of delivery, 1988 to 1990, 2 years. White women, 39,360, 24.8%. Black women, African women, 1,230, 18.5%. Black Caribbean women, 1,409, 24.3%, which is very odd. I find it very strange. Black Caribbean women, that they commit almost not as a little bit more than their so-called American ADOS women here in this country in regards to abortions, and they're up by 24.3%. South Asians, 6,036, 24.2. And now, 1991 to 1993, years of delivery. White women, 39.531, which is roughly 24.9%. Black African women, 1,694, 25.4%. Black Caribbean women, 15,065, 26.9%. South Asians, 6,552, 26.2%. Now, what I've started to notice after the 80s, it actually took a very much with black women in this country. It started to climb a little bit by an average of 6% more. And we always got to think, what happened during the 80s and 90s? Well, if you know, the first actual women that were brought up and understand that feminism started to come full circle. But everybody knows feminism has been around a little longer than that. But after the 80s, the children that were born of the 70s going on to the 20s of the 1990s, they started to show more of that and took full advantage of, aborting around that time for last, from last, let me check, we're in 2019, for last, what was it, 1991? For the last 28 years. 28 to 26 years. 28 to 26 years. The abortion started to climb up a little more with black women here in America. But let's continue. 1994 through 1996. White women, 33,723, 21.3%. Black women, African women, 1,511, 22.7%. Black Caribbeans, 1,210, 20.8%. South Asians, 4,930, 19.7%. So the Asians start to slowly drop in the mid-90s. And I think the reason why they're slowly dropping around that time, maybe because they want to add numbers or they were trying to get more footnote here in this country. Either or, I'm not sure. 1997 for 2000, a period of 3 years. White women, it started to climb gradually, 45,973, which is roughly 29%. Black African women, 2,224, 33.4%. Black Caribbeans, 1,624, 28%. South Asians, 7,468, roughly almost 30%. This is 29.9%. And here, there's a gestational age of birth. Term births greater than, equal to, or less than, equal to 37 weeks. Now, this is a period of when the spontaneous abortions start, when people set enough to kill babies, or the period before 37 weeks. If it does come around 37 weeks or less than, equal to 37 weeks, because usually 37 weeks is when the baby, either they're going to deliver early, or it doesn't come to full delivery until 39 weeks. It says here, white women, 1,036.25, which is roughly 93.4%. Actually, let me re-say that. 136.025, which is 93.4%. Sorry, I had to read that properly for you. Black African women, 5,519, 89.9%. Black Caribbean women, 4,741, 88.7%. South Asians, 21.086, 91.8%. Preterm births, which is less or actually greater than 37 weeks, 9,618, 6.6%. This is for white women. Black women, African women, 619, 10.1%. Black Caribbean women, 603, 11.3%. South Asians, 1,876, 8.2%. And this is spontaneous abortions for preteen or preterm births. That's greater than 37 weeks. Birth weight, not in lowest, 10%. Hold on, let me go now. Birth weight, not in lowest of 10%. White women, 135.005, 92.7%. The black woman, African woman, 5,475, 89.2%. Black Caribbean woman, 4,740, 88.7%. South Asians, 18,000, or 18.345, which is roughly 80%. And in the lowest 10% in regards to birth weights, the lowest, or in the lowest 10%. White woman, 10.638, 7.3%. Black African woman, 663, which is 10.8%. Black Caribbean woman, 604, 11.3%. South Asians, 4,617, which is roughly 20%. And, there's more. And this is another table that deals with the same thing, but different in regards to material age and deliverance by BMI, looks like body weight, unmarried partners. Okay. And the BMI, if people are not familiar with it, is the body mass index, calculated as the weight of kilograms divided by the square with height in meters. All right. Now it says that material age at delivery was a positive independent risk factor for all races. Within each racial group, cigarette smokers established diabetes or subsequent development of Gestational diabetes, indicating a pre-diabetic state before pregnancy, where the factors most strongly associated with previous spontaneous abortions. Thus, these three factors were also most strongly associated with spontaneous abortions with the population as a whole. When interaction between risk factors and race were included in the multivariate logistics regression model BI, P is less than 0.001, and material age at delivery, P is greater than 0.001, was found to be positive affected modifiers for South Asian women. The strength of the association between previous spontaneous abortions and South Asian women increased with increased BMI and age relative to white European women. Similar to a positive interaction with age was found for black African women with a P equals 0.002. Comparison by age groups shown that relatively to white European women ages 21 through 25 years, South Asian women aged younger than 20 years or 21 through 25 years were less likely to have had a previous spontaneous abortion. The difference disappearance in older age groups, odds were also reduced in black Africans and black Caribbeans, women aged younger than 20 years. However, odds were increased at all women aged 26 years and older, interrespectively of racial groups. And from the previous thing I read before, and that what I read was dealing with Table 2. Now with Table 1, to go back, the adjusting logistic regressions and analysis showed that compared with white European women, the odds of a previous spontaneous abortion were increased in black African women, or 1.10, which is 95%, CI 1.3, 1.18, and black Caribbean women, or 1.16, which is 95%, CI 1.8 through 1.25, but reduced among South Asians, or 0.83, which is 95%, CI 0.80 through 0.87. And Table 2, which I'm not going to read the Table 2, what it's really saying in the early parts of Table 2, it shows the factor associated with previous spontaneous abortions for the whole population and each race after adjusting for potential confounders. Black Africans and black Caribbean race were independently and positively associated with spontaneous abortions, whereas South Asian women had marginally reduced odds of previous spontaneous abortions. Now, Table 3, which is probably, besides Table 4, which I'm almost done, Table 3, as you know, it deals with, like was read before, of the just odd ratio for previous spontaneous abortion according to advanced maternal age and increased body mass index by maternal racial groups and using non-imputed data, which is N equals 136,208. And as you look through white women, white Europeans, black Africans, black Caribbeans, and South Asians, the BMI scale of underweight normal for white Europeans, 1.01, which is 0.97 through 1.05. Black Africans, 0.89, 0.74 through 1.8. And this is underweight now, BMI. Black Caribbeans, 1.19, 0.98 through 1.46. And South Asians was roughly 0.77, 0.72 through 0.82. BMI, normal BMI, for white Europeans is 1. Black Africans, 1.12, 1.7 through 1.18. Black Caribbeans, 1.41, 1.35 through 1.48. And South Asians, 0.93, which is 0.91 through 0.96. Overweight, obesity, 1.10, 1.9 through 1.12. Black Africans, 1.45, 1.39 through 1.51. Black Caribbeans, 1.40, 1.34 through 1.46. South Asians, 1.12, 1.9, 1.15. Now, these are the age range through 20 and greater than, less than 35. We'll start with roughly over 20, or 20 actually. White women, 0.73, 0.71 through 0.75. Black Africans, 0.55, 0.48 through 0.62. Black Caribbeans, 0.69, 0.64 through 0.75. South Asians, 0.52, 0.0 or 0.49 through 0.55. 21 through 25. And remember, this is dealing with the BMI now. White women, 1. Black Africans, 1.02, which is 0.96 through 0.18. Black Caribbeans, 1.21, 1.14 through 1.29. South Asians, 0.81 through 0.78 through 0.84. 26 through 30. Roughly for white women, 1.12, which is in brackets, and all the ones what I give you through is also in parentheses and brackets if you want to keep in mind, so don't be lost as I go through read this part. 1.10 through 1.14. Black Africans, 1.38. 1.32 through 1.45. Black Caribbeans, 1.55, 1.47 through 1.64. South Asians, 1.9, 1.5 through 1.12. 31 through 35. White Europeans, 1.50, 1.47 through 1.53. Black Africans, 2.25, which is 2.10 through 2.40. Black Caribbeans, 2.9, 1.95 through 2.25. South Asians, 1.62, 1.55 through 1.69, which is less than equal to 35. Actually, my fault. It's actually greater than or equal to 35. 2.42, which is in white women. 2.36 through 2.48. Black African women, 2.25, 1.98 through 2.56. Black Caribbeans, 3.7, 2.72 through 3.45, and South Asians, 2.70, 2.53 through 2.90. In comparison of the BMI, and there's more statisticals and graphs that you have to see personally on this, which I probably will drop a link through this description of this stream. Okay, what's this? And this is another statistics. Okay, and to wrap up, this is number 4, the discussion, and this will end this portion of this reading. The strong independent relationships between both black Africans and black Caribbean races and spontaneous abortions relatively to white European race have been reported. The factors strongly associated with previous spontaneous abortions were maternally aged at delivery, BMI, smoking, diabetes status, and black Africans and South Asians. Women of the size of the associate increased with age more rapidly than in white Europeans. The rate of spontaneous abortions also rose with BMI, most strikingly in South Asians. Previously, spontaneous abortion was associated with preterm births, most predominantly in black African women, and significant dose-response relationships were found in all racial groups. Previous spontaneous abortion was not associated with low birth weight for any racial group. A few previous studies have also found a greater incidence of spontaneous abortion in black Africans and African Caribbean women. Let me read that again. A few previous studies have also found a greater incidence of spontaneous abortion in black Africans and Afro-Caribbean women, which is 3.4. The association between spontaneous abortion and subsequent preterm births have also been found previously. Although a stronger association in black African women relative to white Europeans does not seem to have been identified previously, the present findings could reflect difference in healthcare access. Healthcare is free in the UK, but ethnic minorities groups are more likely to access maternity service late in pregnancy and less likely to have a scan at 20 weeks than are their white British counterparts. The health problems with might underline the present findings, including higher rates of uterine fibroids and systemic lupus and what they call erythematosus, I don't know if I pronounced right, and tongue-tie, and black women. Disorders that are known risk factors for spontaneous abortions and preterm births, and higher rates of polycystic ovarian syndromes in South Asian women. Symptoms. A polycystic ovarian syndrome presents at a young age in South Asian women than in white women. The disorder causes reproductive problems. 42% through 70% or 73% of affected women experience spontaneous abortions and is associated with a greater BMI. Approximately 50% of patients are overweight or obese, with menstrual irregularities occurring more frequently in obese than normal weight women. Additionally, it has been proposed that surgical management of spontaneous abortions without surgical pretreatment could mediate the association between spontaneous abortions and preterm births by weakening the cervix, leading to preterm births in the next continued pregnancy. Although management of spontaneous abortion is unlikely to vary by race, there are racial disparities in cervical insufficiencies. Black women are at twofold greater risk of cervical insufficiency than white women, which could compound any cervical damage arising from the management of spontaneous abortion. Data on the number of previous spontaneous abortions used in the present study were collected prospectively, avoiding any bias towards a particular hypothesis regarding the pregnancy outcome. There is a risk of underreporting, but this is unlikely to vary by race, and the rates of spontaneous abortions reported are similar to other populations in the UK and other high-income countries. The Northwest Thames database has been extensively validated by 25 through 26, and a substantial number of various collections allowing the appropriation, adjustment of assessment of interaction, data regarding confounders and effects modifying were collecting after spontaneous abortions, which might have led to residual confoundings, although many of variable reflection long-term health outcomes that are unlikely to change. History of epilepsy and renal disease, additional and interpregnancy intervals between the initial spontaneous abortion and subsequent pregnancy is an average less than 6 months. So any residual confounding will be minimal and unlike the vary by race. Finally, because only women in the first pregnancy were included, results are generalizable to nellipotous women or nellipotous women. And that's how it's pronounced. In summary, Black Caribbean and Black African nellipotous women had an increased incidence of spontaneous abortions, and the effects of spontaneous abortions of subsequent preterm births vary by racial groups. In South Asia, women incidence of spontaneous abortion increase with age and BMI, which could relate to higher rates of polycystic ovarian syndromes. Yet another reason to encourage South Asian women to avoid being overweight. The influence of age and spontaneous abortion varies by race, which could be important for counseling and relations to a timing of pregnancy, whereas differential effects of spontaneous abortion on preterm births by race has implications for clinical practice. Currently, practice involving identifying women who could be at increased risk of preterm births and providing regular assessments with a few optimized outcome for preterm newborns. The present findings contribute to a identification of a at-risk women overall. The findings should prompt detailed studies of a factor known to affect rates of spontaneous abortions and relative or relations to race. And that ends that. And besides the Asians, that I don't really care too much about this part in the same study, but it's proven that without the right health care, which this country has an issue with health care in this country, particularly people that are black, besides minorities, yeah, you can be at risk if you fall on a few precautions, if you're maybe too overweight, which really the BMI today in America is not really accurate, because when they rate the BMI, it's really dealing with European people, Caucasian people, and black people are a different species from white people per se, because the BMI is different from different races, because women, especially sisters, regardless if they eat healthy, they do carry a little bit more mass in certain areas than Caucasian women, because most Caucasian women, if you look at the original Caucasian women, if you look at them now, they have to plump themselves up to hope so they could be somewhat fertile. If not, they could be infertile on average. But they are infertile already because of their genetics, not just their body, but just genetics, because their man is infertile. So by this study, that also play a factor if they carry full term. So, the only problem with most of the people in this country that's either black Africans or people that are Caribbean descent or that come from the island that come here, they could fall risk to abortion through just the above by the health factors. And I'll conclude on that. So now what I'm going to do now, and to wrap up what has been said here in regards to the interracial swirling, and my job, because I'm reading this thing about the abortions, the purpose of that is to show that, there are women that is giving abortions, not just black women, but other race women, but they don't really specify the babies that the non-black women are getting not only pregnant, but they're aborting. And we all know in the society, from read early in this stream, that women, they're only going to deal with the non-white male if he has a sense of resource or a dick. And usually, 9 to 10 times, a lot of these Caucasian women or non-black women that's getting knocked up are really the non-select white women that's getting knocked up most than the women that is part of their race that is still part of the community, but they get the least of the stick if they have no choice to day out and procreate outside their race. So now what I'll do, I'll open the lines. Not call up time. The call number for tonight's show is 712-770-4160. The access code 915-41#. I repeat, 712-770-4160. Access code 915-411#. Tonight's subject, Chaos Ray presents Understand Interracial Relationships. The first caller, open up. Caller, open line. Who's this?
Oh, this is Big J here.
Mm-hmm. Stay right there. Let me open the next line. Next line. Who's this?
Hey, Tapu.
Okay, is that Miss Lady?
I am Angel Lady Dove, listener, inspirer, friend, and emissary.
I didn't know you're still alive, girl. What the hell, man? We're gonna reach the 2020 now, and you're up there in age, Miss Lady Love, man. You push up there, man. You're healthy. You're good.
What did you say?
You push up there in age now. You're still healthy. You're still kicking and moving. We're about to head to a new decade.
Of course.
Hey, Miss Lady Love, you think one question? Can I ask you a serious question? You think, well, not the same thing, but you in your life, how you go now? You feel you'll be around for a whole century until you're 100 years old? And
we're supposed to be here 120 years, and then we're promised 1,000 years on top of that. But the bottom line, there's no such thing as death. John chapter 11, verse 25 and 26.
Okay. All right. I get you. All right. Can you sit tight? Stay right there.
And you should know, in Jamaica, you see Duppy.
Angela, no, hold on. I got Big J. I open this line first. Let me hear what he has to say, then you could talk. Is that cool? To say
yes.
All right. Big J, what's up, man? You want to cuss me out tonight?
Well, I gotta ask you a few questions, and I hope you give me some time to have a little give and take. But
I'll see if I can answer it. But go ahead.
Okay, but since this topic is understanding interracial relationships,
yeah,
I gotta ask. The first question I gotta ask is, are you doing this because what happened on O'Shea Channel last night with Cynthia and Mr. Fantastic?
Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, I had to go back and re-listen to that. I came across that he went live on that, but I didn't catch none of it at all. This I was going to do that same day on Big J, but because we had issues, I didn't really make this broadcast happen. That's what you see today. I'm doing the stream.
Okay. Well,
so in regards what happened to somebody else's channel, I was not too aware of. I'm surprised that you mentioned that character and the other dude that would have a confliction of that particular subject. I think didn't that same brother did an after show about that?
I don't know. I did my own show after that, and I went in like I should because I got, let's just say, well, let me see. Can I go to the list of the questions then?
Yeah. Let's see if we can answer the question. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, since concerning the topic,
mm-hmm.
how many people have you interviewed? I know that you're actually reading studies and about this specific topic. How many people have you interviewed who have engaged in such relationships, and what made you draw to those conclusions on those relationships?
The only thing I could draw from the conclusion from the few people that I've come across that tell about some of their experiences, not that many. That's one conclusion. The other, we go by these little studies here and there, and even this one that I read here, this was written by, it was written by a white woman. They did their little digging up about this. And, in general, when we talk about, we think these other people find us glory and nice. That is far from the truth. Now, for whatever reason why they don't emphasize their love and care, even, let's say, towards black men, one major reason, and this is me, and you could probably agree or disagree, is that, they don't want to sit there and talk about, their love about non-black men like that, because they have to come back to their communities, and they want to be known as, what they call that word, I don't want to use the word, I'm trying to keep it clean, some lover, a black person lover. You get me? It was a non-black woman.
Okay. Well, in your words, though, she will be a mud shark. Is that what you're implying?
Yeah, that's what we want to call. Yeah, another way.
Okay. Now I got to go to another question.
Mm-hmm.
And how you talk about how children from the interracial union will go automatic white, right? Well, okay, if we're going to go by that logic, then can you please explain to me who was the leaders of the Nation of Islam? Because if you look up the leadership of Nation of Islam, they have a heritage that is not completely black. Can you expound on that, Gary?
Oh, excellent. I don't really know much, but I know the original founders, not just what's his name? Elijah Muhammad, but the guy, what's his name? The guy that actually looks white. I forgot his name again. You know who his name is, right?
It's the name that tilts to my tongue, but I'll look it up.
But you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I think it's Master Farad Muhammad. Might be him. Might be wrong. Everybody correct me. Don't worry.
No. Wallace Muhammad. Muhammad.
He is actually. They said that he comes from a mixed stock. That's what they said. But if you see the picture of this man, he don't look like mixed stock. So by default, even the religion they got is from somebody that's non-black on the average. That the Elijah is presented to people as what we call Nation of Islam. Now, mind you, I have no Muslims that's calling up here because they're not aware of this show. They could probably clarify this and try to feel what they know. But if we really did some digging, and you probably did more digging on this, Jay, because I'm not Muslim, that you'll find that there is, non-black people that came up with this religion and present it to, Elijah Muhammad, and, the history speaks for itself. If we want.
Okay, well, can you please talk to me about people like Walter White, who was a spy, and he used his mixed heritage when he was part of the NAACP in the early part of the 20th century. Aren't you going to, if we're going to sit here and use, try to talk about relationships and wouldn't it be best? And here is the point. I know I'm taking up time, but
no, you might have to take up the time because there's not much people tonight. So go ahead.
Okay, we're good though. But wouldn't it be best if we're going to talk about topics about relationships that most people on this show have never been in? Wouldn't it be best to invite somebody who has or is or had at one point in time has been in such relationships?
Well, like I always say, if you know anybody, I could probably sit them down and have an interview. I could probably take up somebody and ask them, this. But, like I said before, most people, if we want to go there, we have to sit there, find that type of person that really want to have this discussion, And normally with me, when I have my guests, it's usually on certain topics, depending if they wrote something or they want to bring their own perspective or experience. I will have them on if they're willing to come on. So, that's more work for me to even find out, And like I said, the people I come across or I search, I don't really ask too much unless, if it's important, they bring it to the discussion. And the reason why I do is because when I come across people, Big J, I don't ask it, All right, so you're in. Do you have a black wife? I don't go and ask these questions. You get me? I sit there and know what they are, what they bring, and eventually they bring up during discussion. I'll say, okay, I might ask more, but I don't sit there and go into the business. I mean, I'm not sure if you ever done that.
I normally don't do that, Gary. But you got people who is within your own circle, who you hang around with, like T.R.S exclusives, like Nyla and like Cynthia G and China Fox, who normally always talk about what another person is doing in their own bedrooms. And I'm trying to figure out, though, if we're going to sit there and call people bed wenches and bed bucks, well, if we got bed bucks and we got bed bucks and bed wenches, we also have bed bugs. And, bed bugs always want to enter into people's beds, inviting the two people who's in the bed all the damn time. So, I'm trying to figure this out. Why is it that the people who've never been in such relationships are talking about such relationships as if though they know everything about such relationships? So, okay, let's use what happened on Sunday night, last night. Let's talk about what happened Sunday night. Your girl is going to sit there with a straight face and says, if you are a black man and you dated a white woman, therefore you are a homosexual. Now, I'm trying to figure this out. Where do people get these insane ideas from? Are we going to sit there? See, some people forgot that there is such thing called female nature and male nature. If you have a horse and you have a donkey, one point, if you put one horse in a field with a bunch of donkeys, there's going to be a mule that's going to be born out of that, right? See, again, we got to use some common sense when we get on these YouTube streets and just say unfounded talking points and try to pass that off as truth. I think that is poisonous and toxic anyway. So I hang back. You have yourself a nice day, Gary.
All right. Well, let me say this before you step away. In regards to what other people are saying about, if they're engaged in interracial relationships, that they could be engaged in homosexuality, my question to ask you, Big J, okay, let's say she mentioned that, right? Did anybody ask the question, okay, so what does it mean when a black woman engaged in interracial relationship with a non-black man? Wouldn't that be considered homosexuality?
Well,
did anybody pose back the same question to her? No, I'm being dead serious. Did anybody pose the same, if she's making that claim, right? Did anybody pose a question in regards to that?
Every time, hold on, yeah, no. Every time I try to ask that question, I get hung up on. So, I always get somebody always hang up the phone or kick me out the hangout because every time I bring that up. Now, what you do in your bedroom or what you do in your relationship is none of my damn business. I just wish people would leave other people alone with concerning shit that they don't know nothing about. That's my point. And we actually trivializing, and when we do that, we're actually trivializing, and thank you, Kenneth, Wright, for saying that in the chat room, by the way. But yet, so we're trivializing people's relationships that you don't know what that man's going through or that woman's going through. You don't know if she's happy or not. We don't even know what the nature of the relationship, but yet so we want to sit there poking our nose in it and be bed bugs. That's right. We want to be bed bugs and look in people's beds. I'm gonna crawl to somebody's bed. It's kind of like the Samuel Jackson credit card commercial, that Capital One. What's in your wallet? No, y'all out there trying to say what's in your pants. Mind your damn business. That's what people need to start doing and start trying to insinuate some shit. That's what would need to happen. Now, like I said, there's some chocolate women. What? If y'all really want to talk about black love, I'm talking about some of you black love advocates. Let's look at the Miss Universe. Let's look at Miss USA, Mrs. USS, Miss Teen USS. And guess what? They are all shapes of Hershey Kisses. Oh, my God. They're looking good. Should we, I mean, I'm talking about us, so y'all who like black women, y'all who want the black love, shouldn't y'all be more focused on those nice chocolate, oh, my God. Like that South African woman. Oh, my gosh, she looks good. I like to get them back in his head. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a rain of.
If y'all shouldn't the energy? Hold on, Gary. I know I'm going here. Shouldn't the energy should not be about what somebody's doing with quote unquote Becky? Shouldn't we focus our more attention on those nice, fine black women that was on that stage that night? Should we worry about Miss America who looked good like a bacon and egg sandwich? Hot damn. Shouldn't we look at them nice Dutch chocolate legs of Miss South Africa who is now Miss Universe? See, we should focus on that.
So a black woman won Miss Universe?
Oh my God. Whoa, stop. Wait, what?
I've heard about this. This is something new.
Man, what have you been, kid? Where have you been, Gary?
I don't watch TV, man. Big T, you know this, man.
You all over social media. I'm looking at
Mr. talking about it. Where's my face?
That was a fine South African piece of chocolate cake. That was a fine piece of chocolate cake. Look, let me tell you something. Now, I know, you see, there was one woman in that chat room who I like, Miss MJ. I see her in the chat room. But anyway. But anyway, allow me to calm down because, God damn, man.
Man. That's a good thing. Black woman want the thing, man. I'm happy for that. Last year it would have been that. I think it was a Jamaican could have won, but somebody won over her.
Man, Jamaica. Let me tell you something about Miss Jamaica back in the Miss Jamaica or was it 616 or 17? I thought was here. That right there, I would marry her though, man. Miss Jamaica of 2016 or 2015. Oh my God, I would have married her. Woo, man. I love her smile, man. That woman has a beautiful smile. My God, if she was right next to me, I'll give her my whole damn bank account, my damn truck, my goddamn farm. I'll give her the whole goddamn thing, and I'll be fucking flat, but I'll be a fucking simp for her. That is a fine woman. Woo! God, man, that woman is fine. I never seen woman that damn beautiful. Shit. Man, hold on. I'm gonna find me a whiskey bottle so I can calm my nerves on this shit. Cause man, hold on, let me find my whiskey bottle. Cause that shit right there, man. Oh.
As you find your whiskey bottle, let me give the call number. The call number for tonight's show is 712-770-4160. The access code is 915-411#. I repeat, 712-770-4160. The access code 915-411#. Tonight's subject, T.R.S. presents Understanding Interracial Relationships. Thank you, MJ, for putting that link. All right, Angela Love, are you there?
Yes, I'm right here. Do I sound far away? Because your voice doesn't sound near the intercom or microphone.
Do I sound low?
Yeah. It's strange to hear you.
Unless you're using like an old dial phone, it's gonna be hard to hear me because I'm on a cell phone, unfortunately. And am
I coming through clear?
No, you sound good.
Okay. Well, I can't.
One question before you say something. How much of the broadcast have you listened to? I want at least.
That's what I was going to say.
Somewhat consistent tonight, if we can.
Okay. Well, I came in late, so I was going to talk about what was the label that you gave to some kind of abortion? What was the prefix in front of the word abortion?
Well, what I read was dealing with spontaneous abortion in regards to the races of women, particularly European women, white women, black Caribbean women, and South Asian. They were just doing, I was reading the certain numbers of how often the abortions and the rate of who has them the most.
Yes. Now, the question is, did they give a definition what a spontaneous abortion is?
Well,
did they give
I have to.
definition?
Well, the problem is, if I look at it now, and that's a very good question. Let me see if they say anything about spontaneous. From looking at this and reading it, I guess as clear as possible, it only says spontaneous abortions. It didn't go into the depth of what is a spontaneous abortion from what I'm looking at.
Well, I question that.
And the funny thing with that, we could know what the definition of what spontaneous is, unless you want to read the definition of that.
You can, if you like.
Okay, let's look at what spontaneous is. And I'm going to put abortion, see if it pull up both. Because normally when you look at a certain study, they might not mention it, maybe because it's not that important, but it doesn't matter. Let's look for ourselves. Let's see how good Google is to us. Okay. Spontaneous loss of fetus before the 20th week. So I guess it's like erratic loss of, I guess, a baby in 20 weeks, the 20th week.
Well, that's the question, because normally an abortion would imply, and I would have looked under dictionary.com or medical dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
The
yeah,
line,
that's good. Let me look at that medical dictionary.
I thought you were going to look up two separate words, though, because, see, we've got to pay attention. These youngsters are playing with words. You have to understand what studies do. They correlate it to come out with what they want to bring, and they hide information. Remember, they're being paid to do this study. They don't just do it out of a whim and fancy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me pull up now, spontaneous abortion.
But no, I want to look up the word spontaneous first. What does that mean? Maybe under dictionary.com.
Well, it says abortion first, and so that means I have to separate spontaneous now because it's only given. Yeah.
Oh, if you have spontaneous abortion, yeah, let's listen what they say.
No, because right now, what I pull up on the what they call medical dictionary, it says spontaneous abortion, but it doesn't give you nothing. It gives you a dictionary, a thesaurus, legal acronyms, encyclopedia. So let me go to the dictionary because this is under Dairy Dictionary. Let's see.
Yeah, I being a woman, melanin enriched, I've never heard them use such a terminology, and I just finished with anatomy and physiology and biology 4 semesters. Plus, I've worked for top medical doctors, whom I don't trust any of them, because they're all about their own agenda. They give you tests that make people sick. They give you tests, especially any radiation makes cancer. It causes it.
All right, so let's look at the word spontaneous because they give me many reference and empirical archives. So let me type in spontaneous instead. All right, so let me put that dictionary. Okay. Let's look at Merriam-Webster dictionary first.
Well, if you have dictionary.com, it will either give you several dictionaries, possibly.
All right, let's go to dictionary.com. That would make sense. All right, let me pull up the word. Let's see. Erase this. And I'm going to put spontaneous after that, see what spontaneous come up. Okay. Spontaneous. And let me see. It said adjective, coming or resulting from a natural impulse or tendency without efforts of premeditation, natural or unconstrained, unplanned. Let's go down. Of a person given to act upon sudden impulse. Number 3, of natural phenomena arise from internal forces or causes independent of external agencies, self-acting. Number 4, growing naturally or without cultivation as plants. and fruits indigenous. Number 5, produced by natural process. Now, this is spontaneous. So now let's include abortion. Now, you know, Sister Layla, this is a learning thing, and, you know, a lot of people find this boring, but, you know, we learned tonight. So
we got to learn to use this dictionary, because what I've heard so far, may I interject something? The first meaning of the word is normally the real meaning of the word, and I think I heard, I can be corrected, I think I heard the word unplanned in front of one of the first meanings of spontaneous, unplanned.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I think right now I'm looking at it now. I type in spontaneous abortion, and the first thing comes out, miscarriage. Definition 1.
That was the other word I was going to say, but that's normally the word that they use. Where they come up with this spontaneous, I contend that they are intentionally doing this to the women. Let me let you continue to explain, but I will give you more details, most emphatically, because one of the other variables, and they're in every race, creed, and color, and that is the Canaanite conquistador. But go on, I'm listening. And I've worked with medical doctors, and like I said, I have background.
Well, I think you work in the medical field for over 20 years, last time I checked.
No, I've worked for the doctors. I've worked in hospitals even when I was in high school. But more emphatically, most recent in the 90s, I studied 4 semesters of anatomy and physiology and biology to bring me up to date for what all this radiation and everything. But most emphatically, what you're about to read and what you did read is spontaneous abortion. Why didn't they say miscarriage? If it was a miscarriage, I contend it wasn't a miscarriage. Spontaneous abortion, I think, was done because they wanted that fetus. These beings, and you have to hold on to your seats. I know it's been happening forever, but they cannibals. They utilize fetuses, even the placenta. Notice they don't give the mother the placenta back or anything of that nature, and I can give more detail. The fact remains that they utilize them in rituals. They utilize them in all kinds of talismans and things of that nature, but moreover, there are people that will eat it. Also with the placenta, these beings have, now how would they know that they can stretch a placenta across a football field? If they didn't, well, I'm just saying. The fact remains, these degenerates, you got to dig it to dig it, they're degenerates. Now, all the things that's ailing all of us, they're calling this science. I'm telling you, they utilize these variables, and many, Honorable Dr. Richard Califax Dick Gregory had said at this, keep bringing it up, Irvine Auditorium in the 1980s, he said, women, if you get an abortion, don't be surprised in 20 years, 21 years, of course he said it like that, a person comes up to you and taps you on the shoulder and say, "Hi, Mom." And
because they do sometimes don't kill the baby per se. Sometimes they'll incubate and let it live and carry it full term.
Right, but the mother didn't plan necessarily to have an abortion. Yes, there are people making those decisions, but I'm trying to bring to your attention this degenerate medical kinds of practice, and that's what they tell you. They have a practice. They don't say that they're skilled. They don't say that any format of professionalism. Trust me, they're practicing. And when you recognize how when they came into this country, they actually would call them witches, the ones that did medical. We always had someone that knew the proper herbs to eat, for any condition that ails the body. It is written. And they first, as soon as they started trying to take control, Mutter's Museum here in Philadelphia, someone can look it up.
Angela, can I do this? Because the lines just now opened up. I have to take these other calls. If you can back, I will probably get back to the
But I hope I get an opportunity to tell you that this study
we'll go in more deep because, like I said, this person might read it. But sit back.
I don't think the mothers knew that they were getting an abortion.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it goes because these established, we don't run. These medicals, we don't control, so they do anything to us with our knowledge. But let me open the next line. All right. Who's this?
Hey, what's going on, Gary?
All right. Sit tight. And I'm opening line from, I guess, Canada.
Gary.
Yes?
It's me, man. Did you mute me?
You call from Canada? No, I opened another line. I opened another line. Sit back, Josh. I'm just checking the lines. Toronto, Canada.
Yeah, what's going on?
You don't really call from Canada, Alcorn. Stop it, Canada.
I know.
All right. Let me think. All right. What's on your mind, Joshua? Then I'm going to go to you, Alcorn.
No, I'm just trying to find out what the topic is. You always saying something about abortion. Did you want to talk about interracial dating?
How much of the stream you were listening to, Joshua?
Not that much of it. That's the thing. I caught the last conversation between you and Dick J. You were talking about interracial dating. I mean, interracial whatever.
Okay. Well, this is what I'm going to do because for the sake of time, I'm going to see what Alcorn has, and I'll get back to you. Just sit back. I mean, I'm going to let you the line open.
You better sit back.
Alcorn, what's on your mind?
Yeah, no. When you talk about interracial relationships, in what aspect? And what races are you talking about?
This is interracial relationships in general. How much to the stream, Alcorn?
What was that?
How much time was you listening to the stream, or you just came on?
Off and on. Mainly hearing you read stats.
Yeah. Okay. So you didn't catch that. I mean, hold on a second. I would say this, Alcorn. I can't go back.
Can you talk a little louder too?
I can't really say what's been read, but this is dealing with the understand interracial relationships in its entirety. In regards to how we as men view that when we get into these relationships, not besides women, because women different, but in regards to men, when we enter these relationships, dealing with, let's say, a non-black woman, like an actual non-black woman, usually if they go entertain, let's say, a brother, either two things he has to have. Either that good sex and some resource. If you look at most of the women that they get married to these people that have, like, let's say money, well, it's not really resource, but money, they get, like, those brothers. And if you look at most of the non-black women that they get, it's not like the ones, like, super obese and fat. They're like the regular ones. They probably got all surgical up. But those ones that they get wiped up by these men, the black brothers. And, like, always where you're at, Alcorn, where we're at, when the brothers entertain non-black women, is less than subpar than the actual Caucasoid women. Some are, like, obese, fat, and, and they pick as mates. So,
one thing I've observed, I guess it's kind of ambiguous as to what interracial is or what a non-black woman is, because it'll vary from culture to culture, country to country. Everything's not concrete on what black is and that kind of thing. And for me it is, but for other people it's not. But I know one thing. I was watching that football game tonight, and it showed one of the Eagles players and the baby. I said, I'm noticing this trend, man. Well, it's not really a trend. It seems to be the standard now. That a lot of the darker skinned guys, they got to have a woman lighter than themselves. They can't have a woman their same complexion.
Or white.
It's almost or white. I think they really prefer white, but they'll settle for mixed or somebody that looks mixed. because I think they don't want to reproduce themselves, no matter how much they claim that they love black. It's like Tariq Nasheed and his wife.
His half white, half black girlfriend.
Yeah, he'll talk about other mixed women and call them the tragic mulattoes, but then he'll call his woman black. I'm like, doesn't that sound pretty hypocritical? I mean,
well, when it comes to Tariq Nasheed, he is.
Sorry, it's not Q&A yet. It's not Q&A yet. So, thank you. Now, what I was saying is, like, this guy is a hypocrite. So these guys, I think that's what. And keep in mind, his woman is still lighter than he is, and that's the trend. And I think it's all consequence. People don't want to admit it, but it's all about from that white power, man. White power did a number on people. Even matter of fact, I was watching a video today on YouTube on BET. You remember that singer Tweet?
Oh, yeah. The beautiful sister. Yeah. What about her? The beautiful sister. Yeah,
you know, one thing I remember when she was out, the one thing I said, damn, she looked good and she had a nice complexion. Dark complexion, dark brown, clear complexion. Now, she's ashamed of it, covering the shit up with pancake makeup on and pear lighter. I said, God damn. I said, what the fuck is going on here? I said, you know, it's just outrageous, and that's the trend. It's like everybody I see, as I walk around, I see people out here, dark-skinned guys, they got mixed kids, whether it's white woman, Mexican now. I guess they figure, fuck it, I'm going to take these Mexicans since they're here. Anything. I think they want to get rid of the hair and the skin tone. Especially the hair. I think the hair is the main thing because that's what I keep seeing. And I think I always ask the question when it comes to the interracial stuff: who wins, who loses, and who is winning, and who's losing. And if one group thinks that they have the treasure of the other group, but the other group that is the treasure thinks that they're not a treasure, and the other group is the treasure, and they're mixing themselves out, then apparently that black people may not be winning. Now, you got people like Tariq Nasheed and others who say, well, my kids are black because I said so. And then you got other people who say, well, my kids could be whoever the hell they want to be. So it's like, that's not a system. You know, other people have a system. The white man has a system. He says, mixed kids, they're not white. That's a system. Even though, you know, he breaks the rules. Matter of fact, before I close it, let me just say, don't ask how I got into this, but I got into this investigating this Patsy Cline country singer. Okay. Apparently, white people in the country hillbilly states, they love this lady. I think she's the god of country music, or the goddess of country music. Died in a plane crash. And I kept noticing, looking at her, I said, she's cute. And then I kept saying to myself, damn, but she looks so familiar. She looks like she has some black in her. And then I came across a white racist website trying to research that. And the white racists, they said, yeah, I noticed it too. She's black. She's got black in her. You know how they say negroid or groid or nigger. They say these or some Mexican in her. So they want to figure that out before they figure out whether or not they should continue worshiping the lady. But it goes to show, man, that mixture is there. But people will... Now, I can understand her. She had to hide it because, you know, coming out back in those days, she wouldn't have had the career. She would have had to be a soul singer instead of a country music singer. But I was looking at her family tree. I saw a lot of interesting names in her family tree, like Solomon, Benjamin, those kind of names. You know, I'm done.
All right, thank you.
Who won the game?
Wait, Gary, can I say something, Gary?
Guys, chill. I got another caller. Let me just take this other caller.
The Eagles.
Oh, good.
All right. 6'5".
Thank you.
Open line. Who's this?
Oh, greetings, esteemed chaos.
Oh, what's good? Certainly great. How you doing?
How are we?
One man of the gray regime. welcome. Why do adore to this talk tonight? Yes. What's on your mind?
The conversation is about the article you sent me, yes?
Yeah, this article, I just sent you. Yes, correct. Mm-hmm.
One, the article is full of crap.
Okay.
It's utter nonsense, considering the sources. If we're going to use the Pew Research Center, we may as well be using the National Enquirer, considering that they use antiquated statistics, very outdated survey gathering practices. Like in the article, you see crap quoted from 2003 statistics, 2009 statistics. It's a poorly constructed argument. They claim that interracial relationships is basically a measuring stick or a barometer for determining how well race relations are. And then it goes on to that statistic. From 7% in 1980 to 15% 2010. Here's the fundamental problem. After that, it says, therefore, it is indicative of improved, quote-unquote, improved race relations. That is utter nonsense. During the years of 2010 and 2015, there were more black males gunned down in the street that were unarmed, mind you, by white officers. That is a clear indicator that there's been no race relations. Between the years of 2007 and 2017, the racial wealth gap grew by as much as 18%. That is a clear sign that race relations have not improved. See, here's the thing about race relations. When you talk about race relations, you're talking about something that is all-encompassing in all facets and all areas of human activity. And those areas of human activity are governed by economics. So the way to really, if they really want to make a serious argument, the way we gauge race relations is the way we gauge economics. Has the racial wealth gap decreased? It has not. Despite the fact that there's always been interracial relationships in this country since this has been a country. And race relations haven't moved a single iota. You have some that have foolishly imparted on themselves this idea that if they go with someone that is non-black, that they're somehow improving their social status. Despite the fact that there is no other social, political, or economic indicator that can quantify that. As a matter of fact, during the Obama administration, literally you have more white millionaires being made. You had a whole host of policy that deregulated industries like energy, which allow private corporations to lock non-whites out of the industry, specifically locking black folks out of the energy industry. So we haven't even been able to get our hands on those critical components that are wealth-generating revenue streams. You're going to talk about race relations. Let's look at what a relation is. A relationship between a stockholder, shareholder in the corporation itself. The company is ran by a board called stockholders, primary. They have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, those that buy into this company as a publicly traded offer. They don't have any kind of fiduciary responsibility, not even to the communities around them that host those companies, like Walmart or like Lowe's, right?
Yep.
They sink those businesses that are around them. That's why you look at Detroit, you look at it in the condition that it's in. People say, oh, it's because, black folk, we just don't have it in us to lead anything. Never mind the fact that that was sunk by major corporations that black folk used to work, employ, and actually increase the GDP of the country by building automotive. Right?
Yep. Right.
And so what happens? What happens whenever policy comes down and the government says we will allow the automakers to export their car building to other countries that are actually our competitors, places like Mexico, Canada. Well, the revenue that actually kept that city afloat is no longer there. Oh, see, for white folk, because of the racial wealth gap, white folk have 10 times the amount of money that black folk do, so they can get out of, say, Detroit. While black folk who are dependent on having that job at that plant, well, they can't just get up and move around. At best, what they can do is a few of them can move while sending back for the rest of the family, the same way they did during the major migration from the south to the north. You see, so when we talk about race relations, we have to keep it in the context of economics. That's how you really gauge race relations, and that has not improved.
This is true. And one thing I want to say is really, since you're on the line, in regards to it's not proved, but to a lot of these men that feel, say, they're in this relationship with this non-black woman for whatever reason, that they're trying, I guess, appeal to the other dominant group of male. That saying I'm part of you.
Yes, those are derelict Negro males. They're already.
Then tell me this, Trulin, what findings do you have on this? Because I find it peculiar that people worry about people who they don't even know, that they don't know who's in relationships with. So why is it I'm hearing talking points like, oh, you're gay, you're actually is a homosexual, because like your friend 50G be saying that dumbass shit, or the person either homosexual because they get with somebody from another race, or they're weak, or they have effeminate, or they this that and third. I'm like, okay, so how can you sit there and say that? Because like if you're a black man in Montana, or if you're a black man in Wyoming, and you're by your damn self, well, you really can't sit there and blame because of female nature and male nature. You cannot see female nature, male nature. Really?
Well, look, see, let me explain something, right? When we talk about dating outside of the race, the only difference really comes in a power differential. Who is the dominant group of men in the country? Obviously, white men. They have the money, power, and they have the numbers, right? If black men become the dominant male group, yes, you're still going to run into the same problem. Why? Because women are naturally drawn to powerful men. And that's nondescript of race, culture, creed, nationality, or what have you.
Okay. But I don't think that you answered my question there. You give me YouTube talking points. You're not answering the question I asked. Why is it people are more concerned about relationships that they don't know, that they've never even been in?
I'll tell you this: I'm not really concerned about relationships as I am with the macro. I'm thinking of more socially transformative aspirations, less of interpersonal ones. See, because the macro is what affects the micro. You see, the problem in the black community has been literally shaved down to this microwavable bullshit where it's just black men and black women don't get along. That's just a bunch of malarkey. That is the cry of a derelict Negro male. Okay? The real problem that blacks are having is the lack of institutional power. The lack of wealth, resources, and economic stability. That's what determines whether or not you are even going to have a good relationship, a stable family, stable household, right? Upwardly mobile children. That's what determines that. See, this is what pisses me off about the YouTube, because a lot of you guys, and you used to do this a lot. You used to conflate this stuff down to black men and black women and their interpersonal relationships. I'm glad you've been doing some reading.
I'm sorry, I've been reading those, really.
I mean, these are all systemic and structural problems.
Right. Yeah. Because of the gold shock of 1971, the no fault divorce law of 1967, the war on boys in education. Yeah. And also the ADHD medication has been given to young elementary level boys. And that's what you see on social media, because you hear the same old boring ass conversations running over and over, and there's no resolution or neither solution to it. So I kind of somewhat agree with you on that.
Well, I'm gonna keep it. You want me to keep it all the way raw with you? The real
right. Go ahead and do it. That's what I'm here for.
The real reason why the derelict Negro male runs around with that narrative is for no other reason other than the fact that it makes money. See, the derelict Negro males, especially those of like the red pill, black pill, whatever, ass-kissing pill that they've constructed. They have found this clever way to sell bullshit to men. Men are the hardest demographic to get $1 out of. Do you know that? They have always been. Black, but see, the derelict Negro male, especially in this YouTube space, has found a clever way to fleece black men by playing on their pain.
Right. I mean, like you got these sorry Negroes talking about green pill and purple pill and black pill and white pill, like red bad guy. I mean, anyway, I'm naming names. I'm gonna give you a five stuff at this point because I'm tired of the talking points. And I'm going to say right now, I don't know about you, but I'm going to say about me. This is going to poison. This is a poison. It's like a brainwashing effect, because I'm seeing people repeating the same old garbage day in, day out, just like what happened last night with Mr. Fantastic. Same old talking points.
Yeah, coming with the same talking points from the, from the Southern Strategy era, right? The Lee Atwater
I guess we're
era.
at the interracial relationship, huh?
Right. Well, the whole thing about Lee Atwater. The whole damn thing about Lee Atwater, and you're absolutely right. And you talk about Lee Atwater. Black women are 75% of black women are single mothers. No, you got that from Lee Atwater in 1976 when Ronald Reagan was running for GOP against Gerald Ford in 1976. See, you guys, people that have to do their research and where these talking points are coming from. Because, I always believe in the facts. The facts matter. You don't fuck the facts. Facts matter. So if you look at the facts,
they do matter because, to speak to the brother's point, we're not actually off interracial relationships because it all ties into it. Right? This resurrection of Southern strategy politics, right, being used to play on black men's pain to say, look, these are your women. They're 75% out of wedlock birth. It's to cause a chasm between black men and women. Right? But see, the derelict Negro male is using those talking points to justify what he really wants to do, which is to chase aspirations of sexual access with non-black women. Now, I'm not a guy that cares where a guy sticks his penis. But what I do care about is if you have time to chase non-black women, you do have time to establish institutional power amongst men right here in your own community.
Right.
You got the way these Negroes talk, as if the only thing that exists in the community are women and children. The derelict Negro male doesn't even see himself as a part of the community, let alone a leader, when it's universally known that men are what establish community, what lead community. There is no such thing as a community without men.
That's right.
You see. And so what it does is it gives them a clever and a convenient excuse to abandon what is his obligatory duty to his own community.
Mm-hmm. And that's
I don't care about pussy. I don't care about the where a guy's sticking his penis. What I care about is power. That's what black folk need right now.
And like what I told him, you've been on this motherfucker for 13 years, and yet not one political or social plan that they created. They just want to sit there and fleece everybody else by talking about, back in 1986, Gregory Hines was tap dancing to a Sweet Freedom, and I couldn't get a prom date, and I'm still pissed off at black women. So there I'm on 2019 still talking about some shit I was heard back in 1986. You see,
but dick is power. You know that? Dick is power.
What is that?
I said dick is power. If you stick it to the right one, you can get you some power out of it. That's the whole thing.
But see, here's the thing. What's more powerful, right? And see, when I look at things from a military strategy perspective,
sex is a part of military strategy.
It is, right? But sex is also a way that enemy forces get secrets from men. That's why Russia had a program to train female spies so that they can go and interact with state heads around the world to gain nation secrets. Right? See,
yeah, but when you're talking about a subset of society and they want all the black men, then what?
Yeah, or whenever you have white males who have lost empire and as a result have fallen in socio-sexual positioning in society, which actually boosted up the black man in social-sexual positioning, making him more desirable by all women of the world, right? And then the white male, the white male is clever. You don't think that he wants access to your women when he's having a negative birth rate and you have the most fertile women on the planet? What
I know some people say the so-called Latinas are the most fertile, but actually when you look at it, it looks like the Asians are. I don't give a damn about no numbers. The bottom line, look at their goddamn population. So
no, that's a total crock of shit, and I'm gonna tell you why. You look at the Latin American countries having negative birth rates widespread. That's why they're always trying to come to a Western nation like America, Europe, Canada. Why? Because, well, they have better access to medical things that can extend life.
Yeah, so they can have more babies. Because every time I see them, they got a baby in the hand, a baby on the way. I hardly find one that doesn't have a baby.
How you know they're there? Told you they're sending those Hispanic women because of anencephaly and hydroanencephaly.
Do you know that 86% of whites that exist that are non-foreign national whites right here in America are inbred? That's why they have the highest rate of prenatal diseases, chronic illnesses.
Caucasians are on their way out. That's why they need 3 adults to have a baby. And most are not having babies. They're using surrogates from where we call East India, that if they can afford it. They want
do you have proof of that now? You got proof of that.
Well, actually, it's proven just by if you look at the last decade of immigration reform. Why do you think immigration reform has literally been in every election? Matter of fact, it's been in the last 5 elections as the major talking point for elections, going all the way back to George Bush Jr.
So what are you trying to say? Immigration reform is to do what? Import different people so white people can mix with them?
Yes.
Yes.
It's always for genetic stock.
Their time is up. Their time is up. I know people stole that from me, but the real answer is Caucasoid 6,000 years. And
no, they didn't steal that from you because Hall & Oates had a song called Time's Up.
I'm not finished. The Canaanite. The bottom line here is their time is up. The Caucasian women can't have a baby. Notice that they have glasses on. I can call out this other movie star, what do you all call it, Hispanics. You remember Obama told us, made it an executive order in 2016. We have to call them Hispanics. He said, don't call them Latinos anymore. He made it law. You all don't pay attention to what that man from Indonesia
Yeah, but they were called Hispanics before they were called Latinos, though.
Wait. Can we dial right back from the conspiracy theory and back into reality for a minute?
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, because of this negative birth rate, and since now Angela did confirm this and many things, it's clear to me for almost half a century that, and people know they've been negative and they've been dropping every decade or 20 more years. So what they do to try uptick the numbers and screw the numbers, they have to bring other people in here, have sex with them, procreate. Even that thing with the borders that held with the shutdown for over a month, I think, or 2. Even the things that was going around there, that they would have snatched insurance so that way they could sit there and amalgamate into this American culture much faster, instead of carrying some type of culture in their own, ethnic group with the Mexicans.
In the communication, I was trained that they were going to make the Hispanics the new majority. That's intentional. We called it the information age from the 1970s. Okay? I'm trying to tell you something. This was all staged, orchestrated, activated, presented. This was all staged. Everything that you're talking about when you show the statistics, like I even told you, and this young man has brought to your attention, that not only do they manipulate any kind of statistics, they're being paid to put what the other person wants to present.
But Angel Lady Love, the only question, like I say that too, because they kept saying that, like in the 90s, the so-called Hispanics would take over. But the question is, if they're so why are they doing this, and why are they letting them retain the Spanish language as opposed to wiping that out?
I'll tell you, because first of all, to keep up you all call them brown. Don't call them brown. There's no such race.
I don't.
Excuse me. When you study archaeology and anthropology, there's Negroid, Caucasoid, Mongoloid, whether you like it or not. Now, I know that Caucasian women are trying to add the ape and everything, which they are stem from, most of them. The latter two have dysfunctions. Caucasoids are genetically engineered from the ape, genetically enginered, but you
before
can
you
also
go too far, how come they let them keep the Spanish language?
The very Mongoloids, up until the 1970s AD, Down syndrome children were called Mongoloids. They all have an extra chromosome. I forget how they label the eyes. Some Chinese can make that.
Right, we heard that, but what about the Spanish language? I want to know why did they let them retain that as opposed to changing that or wiping it out?
Actually, I have to go. I have another thing to go to. But if you really want to get into it, all you have to do is look at the Hispanicization period, 1970 census. It's actually the first time that they actually used the word Hispanic for the sole purpose of creating a new minority population to overtake
No, majority.
their quote-unquote undesirable. This is the thing, right? You can look it up. Hispanics were meant to be a what they call a voluntary assimilation group. That's why you look at the statistics since the 1970 census. The first time they started creating Hispanics, whenever white society wanted to, say, inflate their numbers, they would add white and Hispanic. That would be together.
Yep.
Okay.
But the funny part is, though, they added so-called Arabs and Brazilians, North Africans, so-called Middle Easterners as white.
No, that's a matter of policy. Understand that foreign nationals, no matter where they're from, unless they're from like the Caribbean, right? In certain parts of Africa, whenever they come to America, they actually get to choose their quote-unquote racial status.
Yeah.
Right.
To prove this, I'm assuming I know of one friend that was with relationship with an African woman, and he knows that in her license she put white when she came to this country. I forgot which part of Africa she's from, but she's a jet black woman, and she go by a status white.
Yeah.
You get me?
I mean, but you look at a lot of the African nations.
She knows why, because knows what the benefits you'll get by putting that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at most of the African nations now. Most of them are overly anglicized already. So you got to really understand that most of the African foreign nationals that are here, they're going to have a pro, quote unquote, white supremacist leaning ideals. So why they have very negative views. Less than 5% of the African foreign nationals that are in the United States are here on visa lottos, which means that they're from the poor population of their countries where they can't afford a visa, or they're not inside of the elite group that circulates the visas, because the visa program is really a part of the U.S. Foreign Aid of 1961, and so that is what they call welfare, the real welfare. It's a welfare world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. All right.
But it's been real chaos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let you know that I will be having you on before the wrap of this conclusion of the year, so be on the lookout. Thank you again for your support and information. And thank you for clarifying that article, because I've looked at it, and, just that, for most people like yourself, you could verify this, even have some relatives or not. So that's why I kind of sent it to you, just to bring your take in it. And, you're right, because even going for it alone, it seemed odd and fishy, but I had to read it for myself just to go in my perspective out of it. But you kind of clarify it, so it brings conclusion to that. So thank you.
All right.
Hey, can I say something right quick before you go off? And one of the most important things that we have to recognize too, this idea of quote what they call race mixing, whatever you want to call it. I keep trying to tell black people too, and now this is just my perspective. I keep telling black people, I said, if we're not careful as well, we can be wiped out too. Here in America, we can be wiped out too. We can become all mixed up. You see?
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Let me finish.
I'm finished.
So that's how I look at it too, and I keep saying that too, because a lot of times we always look at it as white folks being mixed and being wiped out, but so can black people be mixed and wiped out too. I tell you, one place they tried to experiment at, and that was Brazil. They tried it with the Germans. They got the German migrants to come into Brazil and mix with the black people to try to constantly water down the blackness in Brazil, and it really didn't work. But they didn't accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. But they did, kind of lower the percentage of black people in Brazil, despite the fact that black people still, the majority of people in Brazil are still black. Okay, now they don't hold no wealth power, but they still the majority is still over there black. But I think here in America, I think that we tend to always look at white folks being wiped out, but said that we can also be wiped out too, and we're not, careful. Now, I'm not one for shaming brothers for dating who they want to date. I'm not doing that, okay? Because I think we do a lot of that. We try to shame black men from a psychological, perspective. We shame him for doing what he does. Okay, you're not going to stop certain men for doing that. I mean, it just ain't going to happen. So my point would be that again, as long as we understand that once we go down that road, these things are going to occur and these things will happen. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you.
Wait a minute. I got to do this because see, I watch the conscious community folks saying that. Then I see the alt-right saying racial annihilation. I'm hearing the alt-right and I'm hearing the pro-blacks saying the same damn thing about race annihilation. And my thing is, what is so funny, if you look at the math, it's not going to be wiped out. Why? Because if 10% or less than 10% of the black race is race mixing, and then on the other side, if you look at the white race, it's only about 5 to 7%. What are y'all worrying about? It's only less than 10% on both sides. So why are y'all worrying about the shit? It does make any mathematical sense. Now, I can understand though. I can understand if we was like Native Americans and we got nobody else around us. I can understand that. But what y'all doing is comical. I'm sorry. It's comical to me when y'all talk about that racial annihilation talking point.
Well, I mean, it can happen. It depends on who's going to let it and by how much. You look at countries like Puerto Rico and some countries like Egypt. Egypt or something. Puerto Rico was forced. Puerto Rico, hold on. But the point is, you said it can't happen, though.
Hold on.
Yeah, but my point, let me say this.
Then you look at Egypt. You look at Egypt too.
No,
Tunisia.
And that's my point.
Hold on.
See, now we let you get it out, man.
Hold on. You can't do that, Alquan.
Big J.
You sound very low, Gary.
Well, I'm on the phone. Listen. That's your phone. I don't know about that. But listen, last time, and this one we do because I'm going to soon wrap this up. I'm going to let y'all dispute for the next few minutes on this, and I'm going to end this session. So go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, countries like Puerto Rico, Egypt, Tunisia, hell, fucking Pakistan, Italy, Romania, you can go on and on and on about how people either get blended or wiped out or transformed into something that people want to see as something different. I mean, you see these Puerto Ricans running around here. Well, maybe not in Texas, but in the Northeast, you see these Puerto Ricans running around here. They look different, but at the same time, they look familiar. So, but at the same time, they like mixing with each other.
We got to put things in a proper context, because you put things out of proper context of history. First of all, Puerto Rico is an island. That's number one. Puerto Rico has been colonized by several European powers. That's number two.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if it was colonized or voluntary. The point is, it happened.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. And number three, Puerto Rico has been under oppressive regimes. Well, I don't know about new. We can see now.
Gary, let me in here.
Don't do that, James.
Let me in here, Gary.
Wait. This is what I'm going to do, because I think...
God, come on, James.
Let me in here, man. It's halftime with Sam.
Let me do this. I got some order. This is what I'm going to do, because I'm already past time, and I don't think I got the patience or the mental capacity tonight for the back and forth. I'm going to conclude tonight's session. I'd like to thank everybody for listening to tonight's show. Be on the lookout for the next stream. And like always, and I will leave the links and stuff for this articles I read in the description of this particular live stream. Other than that, thank you again for watching. Until next time, take care now. Good night.
Thank you for listening to another broadcast. Follow me on Twitter at ChaosReign7. And like always, comment.